Hello. I am so happy to have you all here today. We are empowering every queen through true inclusion in pageantry and modeling, teaching self-awareness and advocacy for those without a support system. And today we promise a captivating glimpse into the vibrant world of inclusion, where every story matters and every voice is celebrated. So prepare to leave feeling empowered, ready to conquer challenges and embrace your full potential. Hi, I'm Trina Myers, Miss Elite United USA, the Zebra Queen, and Legacy Maker. And my guest today is...
Hi, I am Nikki Kindred Harper. I am Miss Kentucky Revolutionary. I am from the Bluegrass State, and I am the creator of Queens of Empowerment through Art.
Well, thank you so much for being here with me today, Nikki. And thank you for our audience for joining in the Royal Buzz, your go-to podcast that's buzzworthy on pageantry, advocacy, and positivity, where Hive meets hype. So let's listen to the magic one story at a time. Today, we promise an empowering story that will inspire you to believe in your own strength and potential. Towards the end of the show, we'll be taking a few viewer questions, and I do apologize if you can hear the noise in the background. We will be taking some questions at the end. So in the meantime, go ahead and put any questions in the comments, and we'll get to them at the end. So today, I am so thrilled to have my zebra sister here with me today to talk about true inclusion within pageantry and modeling. So thank you again, Nikki, for being here today with me. What a huge topic to discuss, as it's a topic that I too have faced and even hung up my own pageant shoes at one time because of the issues with my own disabilities. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. So let me first explain to the audience, or let's both of us explain together, what do I mean when I say zebra sister? And then secondly, what made you choose to discuss the topic of true inclusion in pageantry?
Well, again, thank you for having me here. And a zebra sister is somebody who shares invisible, sometimes visible, but mostly usually invisible scars and battles that relate to us. And so we call each other zebra sisters because our zebra stripes are the scars of which we proudly wear and show.
Absolutely. And I'll take it one step further. So physicians are typically taught in medical school to listen for the hooves of horses and not zebras, because zebras are rare. And so that's where that whole zebra stripe comes into play.
That's awesome. And that's really part of why I also do want to talk about the topic of inclusion in pageantry and within modeling. And that is because this topic's important to me as a zebra sister and as somebody who's battled with autoimmune disorders and in and out of the hospital since I was a child. And to me, it shouldn't matter if you have scars. It shouldn't matter if your walk is a little different and you're not the perfect catwalk. It should be matter about the attitude and what you bring to the table as an overall person. And I think that's why it's so important to me, because I was always told growing up that I wasn't going to be the pretty girl. I was the sick kid. So why would somebody want to be with that? And it was to a point that I didn't even wear makeup or my wigs when I went out because I didn't have any confidence to. And that's something I don't want any other child or person to ever have to feel like.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, the Royal Buzz, to be able to shed light on those adversities that individuals like you and I go through. As I was sharing prior to coming going live, is, one, I hung up my shoes and had decided a few years ago that I wasn't going to compete anymore because it was becoming a challenge. Spraining ankles. So that's another thing I believe that we have in common is Ehlers-Danlos, and that is a connective tissue disorder. And so sprained ankles, my shoulders are really bad. I've got an upcoming surgery. I've had it one on this one and now coming up on the other. Elbows going out, wrists going out, and so it was a challenge walking in heels, and many times would just have to sit down and, knowing where your limitations were. And so it was exhausting. It's a lot more exhausting. I mean, it's exhausting just generally speaking, I think, for the average person.
It is.
But when you have autoimmune, an invisible disease, a rare disease, it takes a little bit more out of you.
It does. It truly, really does, because that's something I've had to deal with. I've literally dislocated my ankle right before walking on the stage before for evening gown. Everybody was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, why are you sitting in your gown?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just popping my ankle back into joint, so I can walk." It's nothing. The panic in their face.
Right.
Oh no.
Right. And that's something that we're used to,
Yeah, it's
and
normal.
I've had people joke, we need to put a bubble wrap around you.
Everybody giggles because I ride motorcycles, and they're like, "How are you safe on a motorcycle?" I was like, I'm safer on the motorcycle than my own 2 feet. That's the
Right.
truth, literally.
Yes. So we've talked a little bit about that as a challenge in pageantry, as, knowing where your limitations are. And one of the things that we briefly talked about before coming on live is the spoon theory. And not everybody may know what that means. So essentially, you know what your limitations are. An average person may have 10, that they can get through in a day. But somebody like us, we may only have 5 spoons, and that's just where we know where our limitations are and identifying where we want to spend that time and that effort towards. So do you have anything that you'd like to share about the spoon theory, or how do you, what are some of the challenges that you face in pageantry?
So I've actually been taught on the spoon theory since I was really young, because that's one of the other lessons that one of my nurses was just like, you have to know this. It's important. It's pertinent to your health and your longevity, because I didn't start pageants until I was an adult. I was in my 30s when I started, and I actually did it because I went to a Halloween pageant with a sister, and she's like, "It's going to be great for you." And she's right. It has been one of the best things that I've done for myself in my life. However, at the same time, I've also dislocated joints, ankles. I've pushed myself more than I should with my adrenals, because I don't have adrenals. So when everybody else is jumping up and down off their adrenaline, I'm over here going, "Oh no, what do I do?"
Right. I've had people say, "Well, aren't you excited?" I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah,
This is my excitement. This is what you're seeing.
And that's always been my thing. Like, I've always wanted to do stuff and be out there in the community, which is something I've loved ever since I was little. And with pageants, I've seen that it's challenged me in the sense of I haven't been able to go to every pageant that I've wanted to, because there are days where I've been planning for it, paid for everything, had all my outfits ready. Day came, I woke up, and I could barely walk down the hallway, let alone do a pageant.
Right.
And I don't think everybody understands that, because you will get some people that think you're just trying to get a sympathy card, even though you can't help it.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're totally good. You can probably hear my dogs in the background.
Yes. Well, Queens, I wanted to touch base on something else that we have in common. Queens of empowerment through art.
Yes.
which is aimed at teaching self-awareness and self-advocacy through to those without a support system. So art, that's something that we also have in common. So I'd love to hear more about this, and why did you choose it?
So I actually started my own art LLC about 3-4 years ago now. And I started with my husband because I was originally working on a second master's, and I got really tired of law. I was tired of the politics game and not having a voice or opinion and being able to stand up for anything I believed in, really. And so my husband was like, just start an art shop. And I was told my entire life that I had no artistic ability and everything. And I'm a multimedia artist. So I do a bunch of different aspects of art.
Yes.
But I wanted to spread the positivity that I got from art as a child, because as I said, where I was in the hospitals growing up, one thing that brought me out of my shell and really helped me communicate and talk to people was art. They had a little cart at Cincinnati Children's that would come around. It was called the craft cart. And they'd knock on your door each day and see if there was any new supplies you needed. They supply it all. And that's how I learned to do different art forms. And it helps. And I've seen the power of how it helps. I even teach the kids in my hometown at my art center where I volunteer in my shop and have my own private studio. And to me, that's empowering people, because I know that I can make somebody light up with my different art, just like I did this summer with the kids in the art program for the summer, and we did blacklight art with them because that's one of my specialties. So they got to play with glow in the dark stuff,
Oh, how
and they're
fun.
very happy.
Oh, I'm
And
sure.
so that's kind of how I led to it. And then I created my own hashtag and slogan, and I actually have a custom artwork that's being finished to make t-shirts for the project as well.
Oh, how fun. And do you have a favorite genre or niche of art?
I honestly love my embroidery art and my skull art the most. I taught myself to do hand embroidery about 5 months ago now. And I have a mentor at my hometown center that's been doing it since she was like 15, 16. And she's amazing. Like, she can do all these crazy stuff. Like, she hand knits these, and these are historically accurate little hand mitts.
Oh,
And they
how
just go in like that and have
fun.
little finger holes. And I was just like, you're very talented. But she sits and just makes them. And like, she's super talented. But I do all different kinds. And so, like, one of my favorite things to do is actually do embroidery with black light incorporated into it. So my embroidery
Oh,
pieces glow.
oh, how fun.
Yeah.
I do not have the patience for that. I am more of an abstract artist. I can do realism. Could draw, paint. However, my favorite is abstract and just getting those emotions out. That
Yes.
frustration, and that's what actually helped me through my process. I just got my diagnosed rare disease about 8 years ago, and I just turned 50, just to kind of give you an idea of this is something I've lived with my whole
You
life.
didn't have answers.
Just didn't have answers, just thought that this was normal. Um, you know, when I finally got diagnosed through a blood test, my mom was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just thought you had really bad allergies."
Bless you.
So, I found solace at the canvas and painting and pouring paint and just getting it all out.
People that haven't tried it don't realize how therapeutic it is, because we have people that'll come into the center all the time and they'll be like, well, I don't have any artistic ability. And I'm like, well, have you tried? Have you like sat down and just played with stuff?
Right.
And that's the only way you're gonna know. It's the same concept
Exactly.
of different food. You're never gonna know if you don't like it unless you try it. And that was like
Absolutely.
what my papa always said. And so that's why when like I go to New York, I always try different foods. Like, that's just what I do. You have to. But I did not get to do a lot of different things growing up. I didn't get to do a ton of sports. Every time I'd get a sport that I loved, I'd get sick, and because it was just too much on the body. Even when I did cheerleading, I fractured my elbows. It's funny you said that your elbows got messed up. I actually fractured both of them just by doing the cheers. Popping out like that dislocated them.
Right. My right elbow's worse than my left,
I
but
heard the
it's,
crowd.
yeah. That's an everyday, multiple times
I
in the
understand
day.
the pain. I understand. It gets
Yes.
crazy.
So if somebody wanted to get involved or engaged in your platform or learn more about what you're doing, how do they go about doing that?
So we actually have a full page on Facebook for the Queens of Empowerment through Art Movement, and it connects you to our LLC and everything like that. And we also have a Instagram which we share stuff onto as well. And we also do active participant events at the actual art center. I'm actually working right now on getting a Queen's Tea Party set up, and it's for queens and kings. And so moms, daughters, sons, and fathers, those kind of thing, everybody can dress up and come have a tea party. And we like to do big because we have people that'll act out our themes with us and everything. Like we've done Alice in Wonderland themed ones. We've done Halloween themed tea parties. We love that kind of stuff.
Oh, how
And
fun.
so we like to get the community involved and everything. And so that's how I like to do that, because what I'm doing with all of the donations that get donated is I'm using that to buy supplies. Sorry about that. That is my dog. But to buy supplies to go to the hospitals and foster groups and such to do art days with them. And then that way the kids and stuff don't have to pay anything. It'd be all
Wonderful.
on me. But yeah,
That
that's how we're
sounds like
doing it.
so much fun. I wish that Kentucky was a little bit closer and
I know, right? I feel so out of it being in Kentucky, and then everybody says, "Well, we're gonna come to this east for holiday." Oh, okay. It's a popular area.
yes, yes. Well, we'll have to make plans for me to come in and enjoy
Yes,
one of your tea parties. That sounds like so
yes, I would
much
love that.
fun. Yes.
And then we could do an art project together.
Oh, there you go. What a great idea. I love that. Well, I have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you. So we've talked a little bit about your personal experience and inclusivity of pageantry and some of the challenges that we've had. But overall, what is your favorite or best part of pageantry?
So I'm a people person, and I really, really love getting to meet all the different people and learn where they're from, especially people with different heritage and from different cultures, because that was something in college that I really loved based on my undergrad degree, because I'm an anthropologist by my undergrad degree.
Ah, I loved anthropology in school.
It was so much fun. I truly
Yes.
enjoyed it, and we had a really amazing program at EKU. And so I actually really do love to meet different people from different areas. So, for instance, one of the people that I'm going to be modeling for in this next year is a Indian fashion setup that's down out of Nashville, and they have amazing, amazing clothes. They're super sweet. I met them when I was modeling in one of their previous shows for some other designers, but that's the kind of thing I love because cultures are very rich, and I feel like if we understand and can appreciate different things from other people's cultures, then we're more apt to accept other cultures and be all right with people. And I think that's special just because I don't meet strangers. I don't.
I
I'm a happy
don't either.
person.
I talk to people in the grocery line all the time.
When I was growing up, if we were at the amusement park, me and my dad would know the life stories of whoever was standing next to us before we ever got
Right.
off the ride. That was just
I'm
inherent.
that person as well. Yes.
I feel like life's too short to not be. You don't know who you're going to
Yes.
meet. And my family always taught me to put my best face forward because you don't know who you're going to meet. So I would always, if I went out with Mama, we always dolled up. If we went out to do something, I would always put a smile on my face and try to be the best version of myself I could be because I don't want people to have to feel like I've had to feel after certain encounters. And I think that's important because there's enough meanness in the world.
You're absolutely right. Yes. So that's a great segue into the the last question that I wanted to ask you. So, if there was something that you could just make the biggest wish in it for it to come true, what is something you would wish to see change in this world?
The lack of people being able to admit when they've done something wrong. Just because I feel like if people were able, like it's inherent that we're always going to have moments where we're wrong in a situation at some point. I think that the point and the true mark of maturity is to show that you can respond still in a positive way, even if you've been proven wrong, even if you didn't agree, if you still don't agree, even with the proof. I think that shows the mark of your character, because your response is how you get to choose to respond to the situation yourself. And I think that's pertinent to how you should be perceived.
Absolutely. Oh, I just love your heart, and I love your passion to want to love and just engage people into your life. So I really appreciate you coming and being a guest on my show, Nikki, and love to have you come back on another time.
Oh, I'd love to.
And for those of you who are watching this on a replay, if you have questions for Nikki or myself, feel free to put them in the comments. We'll go back and answer any of those questions that you may have. So thank you again, Nikki. It has just been a beautiful experience to spend this time with you to better understand your experiences and knowing that similarity of what I've gone through as well, and the inclusion in pageantry. And I hope that our viewers have felt inspired and learned a lot about your inspiration, our inspiration behind the legacies that we're leading. Yep. And today's message just goes to show the importance of kindness can go a long way, just like you had just mentioned. Yeah. And don't forget to follow me and Nikki. You can follow me on the Miss Elite United USA Facebook or Instagram. You can also follow me on the Creative HQ, and that's CRE, the number 8, TIVE HQ for headquarters. And you can follow Nikki at Miss Kentucky Revolutionary on Instagram and Facebook. So that's it for today's show. Thank you for those of you who have popped in and popped out. I've seen a couple of you come on and watch the show for a little bit. And thank you for those of you who are watching it on replay. If any of this resonates with you and like to continue the conversation, or if you'd like to be a guest on the Royal Buzz, go to my website, Creative HQ. Again, that's CRE, the number 8, TIVEHQ.com/RSVP. And I will put that link in the comment as well, where you can RSVP for any upcoming live events, learn about the organization and supporters of today's episode, like the United USA National Pageant and the Legacy Maker Academy. If you would like to learn more about how you can become a legacy maker, go to legacymakeracademy.com. So thank you again, and we appreciate you staying tuned.